What's up, Star Wars nerds, and welcome to another episode of Brett on Fett. On today's episode, we'll have another edition of Droid Service, where I'll be reviewing the Astromech Droid Series 1 pack from the Saga collection. Plus, I've got some pickups to share. Let's get to it. Welcome back to the channel. This is episode 85 of Brett on Fett, and it's been a while since I've done another edition of Droid Service. That's a segment where I dedicate everything to droids and droid figures. And so I thought this would be a good time to review a recent pack I picked up from the Saga collection. It was known as the Astromech Droid Pack Series 1. They had a Series 2 as well. Both were exclusive to Entertainment Earth, and they featured a variety of astromechs from different Star Wars films. And in particular, I wanted to pick up the Series 1 because it had a droid I really needed to fill out my tantiveiv playset. So we'll get to that in just a minute. But before that, I want to share just a few pickups I got, which also includes some droids as well. So let's take a look. All right, so first up, I picked up this Black Series Return of the Jedi 40th Anniversary R2-D2. This is actually my fourth attempt at getting this figure. The first three times the figure came in just completely damaged, like totally crushed, bubble, card ripped up or bent. The damaged ones came from GameStop and Amazon, and then this one came from Hasbro Pulse, actually, and came in great shape. And it's a great figure. On a previous episode of my channel, I did a full review of this same exact R2-D2, but just the one that came in the Mandalorian regular Galaxy packaging. Here's a look at the back of the card, and you can see the rest of this wave. And it is actually a great wave for the 40th Anniversary Black Series. A lot of good figures there. And the reason I wanted this R2 on card was because I already have the previous Black Series 40th Anniversary R2-D2s, including this awesome Empire Strikes Back Dagobah version of R2, and this clean R2-D2 from Star Wars A New Hope. These are all three awesome R2-D2 card backs, so I'm very happy to finally complete this little mini collection, if you will, of 40th Anniversary R2-D2s. Next up, I do like to collect the Build-A-Droids from Legacy Collection, so I picked up another one loose, and this is R5C7 from the 2009 Legacy Collection Build-A-Droid series. This is one of those blink and you will miss him droids. This one is from Attack of the Clones. I believe he's from a scene on Tatooine. And I just really liked the subtle metallic purple on this droid. I just thought he looks really cool. This is, of course, the same mold as the Build-A-Droid R5D4. So same exact mold in every way as the R5D4, just a different paint scheme, but I always love to pick up these Build-A-Droids and hope to collect them all someday. And finally, I managed to get yet another vintage Kenner mint on carded figure. Now I am focused on getting Empire Strikes Back cards, particularly the Bounty Hunters on 48 back C, but I do also really love the Power of the Force series. And I managed to get my very first Power of the Force mint on card figure, and it is the Awing Pilot, and it is a beauty. It's in great condition. Fellow YouTuber and friend of mine, John the Action Figure Grader, saw this on eBay and sent it out to his Patreon supporters. The seller was selling it for a decent price, but also had a make it offer feature. I made him an offer for what I thought would be a great deal for me, but still somewhat fair to the seller, and he immediately accepted. And it's just a beauty. Now, most of these Power of the Force figures are notorious for having extremely yellow bubbles, but this one is just very light yellowing on the bubble. So I just couldn't be happier with the condition of this figure. I'm confident this would grade at least an 80 overall, possibly an 80 plus or 85, especially if I send it to CAS, because there's really just no major issues with this card back. It's in really great shape. Very happy with the deal I got. Shout out to Action Figure Grader for finding this one. Alright, so now it's time for my Droid Service segment, and as you can see here, I've got my tantiveiv TVC playset set up for that scene in the beginning of the movie when they're marching out the Rebel troopers, and I've got the droid here, R4M9, And I've been wanting to get the other droid. There is another Astromech droid that is rolling in front of him as the stormtroopers are escorting the captured rebel troopers down the corridor. Now this gray and black droid is known as R2-Q2, and Hasbro did make him, but they put him out in a 5-pack that was an entertainment exclusive under the Saga collection line. It was in a pack called the Astromech Droid Pack Series 1. They also had a Series 2, and I tried looking for just the R2-Q2 by himself on eBay, and he was pretty expensive. I think the cheapest I found him for was about $42, but I noticed someone selling the entire 5-pack for $100, but with make an offer, and I was able to get it for less than $100. I think maybe about $85 is what I ended up making the deal with. I thought that was a pretty good deal, so I went ahead and ordered it, and it came in pristine condition. He even shipped it with the original Entertainment Earth shipper box, which I feel kind of bad for because I am going to open these, but it was just a good deal. It was the best deal I found. I saw others that were a lot more damaged, asking for a much higher price, over $100. So this was the best deal I could find for the 5-pack. It just happened to be in mint condition. Just works out that way sometimes. So I apologize to the inbox collector gods, and I will be making this sacrifice. Here's a look at the back of the box with the descriptions for each droid. You've got R4A22. He's from Dexter's Diner from Attack of the Clones. Then you got R2C4, one of Queen Amidala's droids from Phantom-Menace, followed by R3T2, a random droid on Tatooine from A New Hope. Then we got our boy R2-Q2 from A New Hope as well. It says here he also serves Biggs Darklighter during the Battle of Yavin. I did not know that. And then finally you have another A New Hope droid. This is R3T6. It says he calculates hyperspace coordinates for the Empire and sadly does not survive the assault on the first Death Star. Womp womp. Alright, so there's a look at the outer packaging. Very nice for display. Kind of a shame I'm going to have to open this thing. And in case you're wondering, this is what it looks like when you pull out the insert. They did a nice job of sealing up all the cardboard very well. And you can see it's got a backdrop, which I'll show you in just a second. And here's the backdrop, and it's really nice. It is the sale of the droids from A New Hope. I'm going to save this and maybe try to use it someday, because I am collecting those droids. In fact, those two in the background you see there, I think are the only two from that scene I'm still missing. But yeah, really nice backdrop, cardboard cutout. I really wish Hasbro would do more stuff like that these days with their product packaging. Alright, so let's take a look at each droid close up. The first one is R3T6 from A New Hope. And right off the bat, the coolest thing about this droid to me is the clear dome where you can see the mechanics inside. That's just an awesome feature. But I do like the red paint apps and little bits of silver metallic and a little bit of black as well. So I'm really digging the way this droid looks all in all. And check out the sound his dome makes when you turn it. I'm a big fan of the clicky sounds when turning these Astromech domes. It's just very old school. It's like a satisfying sound to me. It reminds me of the old original Kenner R2-D2, so I love those. Now the third leg just pushes in manually, and I notice it's not going all the way in flush with the bottom of the body. And this is not the kind that you turn the dome and it winds its way in. I tried that. It literally just pushes in, but it doesn't go all the way in. So I don't know what the deal is with that. I've tried twisting the dome repeatedly and pushing and pulling, and it just will not go all the way in. It's just made that way, and that's a little disappointing because like, why even have it retract if you can't get it to retract all the way? Now maybe mine is just defective, but I doubt it. But if any of you out there actually have this figure and you can make the third leg retract all the way in, let me know in the comments. Next up is Queen Amidala's droid from the Phantom-Menace. This is R2C4. Nice looking droid overall with kind of mustard yellow. He's got that red eye with the sunroof to let it light up better on display, so that's always a nice little feature they did back then quite a bit. And like I said, it's a nice looking color scheme with that mustard on silver. Pretty cool looking. You got a little bit of weathering there too, and they didn't overdo it. I like the weathering. It's very subtle. Now this one does not really have the clicky sound like the others, and this is the kind where you wind the dome in order to retract and extend the third leg. So I'll go ahead and wind it this way. You see it retracts and it goes all the way flush with the bottom of the body. So that's good. And by the way, I'm not a big fan of that winding feature. I just think it takes a long time. It's kind of cumbersome. I'd rather just manually be able to pull the leg in and out. But overall, I like this droid. It looks good. I like the weathering on it, and it really has no issues. Next up is the Episode 2 droid from Dexter's Diner. This is R4A22. He is orange and white. He's got that kind of cone-shaped head that most of the R4 units have, which I kind of like because it's a little bit different. You don't see them as often as the others. And speaking of the head, it does make the clicky sound just like the first one we looked at. So that's cool. And I'm just testing it to make sure the third leg does not retract when you wind it. So it is not the winding kind. Again, you just manually push it in. And once again, the third leg does not go all the way in flush with the bottom of the body. So that's really disappointing. Again, like, what is the point of having it retract if you can't have it retract all the way into the body? I just don't get why this happened and why Hasbro wasn't able to make a fix for that. It just seems like something that could have easily been avoided, but maybe it was just something that wasn't caught until it was just too late in the production. But aside from that, it is a good looking droid. Next up, I have R3T2 from A New Hope. He's another blink and you'll miss him droid, just kind of roaming around in the middle of Mos Eisley, I believe, on Tatooine. And I'm just not too impressed with this one. He's very basic looking. The paint apps are kind of lazy, if you ask me. Nothing on the back. I do like the metallic gold cables. That's definitely the best part about the paint apps on this. No clicky. This is the wind up kind, just like the Amidala droid we saw earlier. So he does go flush. So that's the bonus of having the wind up, is that style of body. The third leg does go flush. So that's good. I'm just not really excited about this particular droid. I think he is my least favorite from the pack, mainly because he's just kind of got a boring paint scheme that just seems a little bit basic and maybe even sloppy. Next up is the whole reason I purchased this pack, and that is R2Q2 from A New Hope. Awesome looking droid. Right off the bat, I really like the alternating gray and black with a little bit of white trim on this figure. They even got some paint apps on the back, and it's just a satisfying look to a droid. Yeah, the band around his dome is not perfect with the paint apps, but it's pretty typical actually. But I do love the color scheme on this droid. No clicky. This is another wind-up one, just like the last one we looked at and the Amidala one. But at least that means the third leg is flush when retracted, so that's good. But yeah, this is a really cool looking droid. Very happy with this one. I'd say he is definitely my favorite of the pack. So let me just bring in the other two droids from this pack that use the same body with the wind-up style legs. So here we got Amidala's droid R2C4, and then that Tatooine droid R3T2. So just wanted to line those up together. So all three of these function the same way with the wind-ups. And then you have the other two remaining droids, the R4A22 and then the R3T6. Both of these have the clicky sounds when you turn the head, but their third legs are manually retracted and extended. And once again, both of these have the issue where the third leg does not go all the way in flush. But I think the R3 makes up for it because he's got that awesome clear dome. Alright, so here's one last look at all 5 figures from the Astromech Droid Pack Series 1. And overall, this is a great set. I love these figures, but by far my favorite of these are the gray and black R2Q2, the clear domed R3T6, and that mustard yellow R2C4. Alright, so the only thing left to do is to complete my scene for my tantiveiv 4 playset. Here is my missing droid, the R2Q2. Now he does ride in front of the R4M9 droid and a little bit to his right. So I'm going to place him right about there. and place the R4 there. It's looking pretty good. So happy to complete the droids from this scene. Now I really just need some more stormtroopers. Still waiting on Hasbro to reissue those. Alright, that's going to do it for this episode of Brett on Fett. Thanks for checking out this video. Thank you so much to my subscribers. Don't forget you can also follow me on Instagram and on X. Take care, and we'll see you next time.